Okay, so we're going to go to your life science book. Going to do a little science lesson. We're on lesson 2, identifying implications. Identifying implications. It's on page 6. So go ahead and go to page 6 of your book. Identifying implications. Writers often describe ideas and facts in words, but the same ideas and facts can be implied, not explicitly stated, but you have to gather those context clues by the writer instead. Rather than being expressed in words, implications come indirectly from what the author has written, okay? So they're implying something. They're trying to hint. The reader must infer or figure out what is implied. Try to identify an implication of this sentence. The major difference between plants and animals is that plants can make their own food. An implication of the phrase, plants can make their own food, that's a fact, is that animals cannot. You can surmise, guess, that because plants can, it's not saying anything about animals, that animals can't make their own food. Can you think of other implications of this sentence, okay? You can imply that plant and animal cells have different type of cell structures because it says there's a difference. We don't know what those cell structures are, but maybe that animals have cell structures that give them the ability to make their own foods, that animals lack those. Animals are dependent on other things for food, whereas plants can make their own food. So let's go ahead and read this text right here, and then we're going to answer the questions. Always important too to look at the pictures. So the leaves of a plant contain a green substance called chlorophyll, which plays a key role in making plant food. Okay, so chlorophyll. In the process called photosynthesis, the sun provides energy to break down water and carbon dioxide gas and form simple sugars. The plants use the sugars as food and to form other substances such as starches. A byproduct of photosynthesis is oxygen, which is released in the air. So here's the chlorophyll in the plants right here. This is what it looks like inside a leaf, okay? So chlorophyll is that key product to help in the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis takes the sun's energy to break down the carbon dioxide gas that the plants take in to form simple sugars, which is their food, and then it releases oxygen. Chlorophyll plays a key role in photosynthesis. Based on this fact, where in a plant is photosynthesis most likely to take place? Now remember, look at this picture. In a plant's roots, stem, leaves, buds, or flowers. Well, right here is your big clue. You can infer there. That would be leaves, because it's showing us that the chlorophyll, the essential part of photosynthesis, is located in the leaf. Okay, 2. Plants take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. What can you infer from this fact? 1. Plants affect the balance of gases in the atmosphere. 2. Plants compete with animals for the supply of oxygen in the atmosphere. 3. Plants take oxygen from the air in the same way that animals do. 4. Plants reproduce by means of seeds or spores. 5. Plants rely on the sun as a source of their energy. Okay, so we're talking about gases. We are not talking about reproduction. We are not talking about energy, really. So the first one says it affects the balance of gases. That's probably maybe a good one. 2 says plants compete with animals for the supply of oxygen. We know that plants take in carbon dioxide. 3 says plants take oxygen from the air in the same way the animals do, and we know that they take in carbon dioxide. So this is 1. They take in carbon dioxide, they release oxygen, and that's good for us because we all know people need oxygen. Okay, so this is the next one. The whole process, again, just as it says, read the directions, choose one best answer from this graphic to help with question 1. The whole process of photosynthesis can be simplified in a chemical equation. Water plus carbon dioxide, then you add in a little light and chlorophyll, leads to glucose, water, and sugar. This is all energy. Which of the following substances is both an ingredient and a result? So we're looking for things on both sides of this equation. Pretend like these are equal signs. An ingredient and a result. So something that is on both sides. And on both sides of that equal is water. Okay, so now it says, questions 2 through 4. Refer to the following diagram and passage. Here we have the label for the structure of a leaf. The structure of a leaf contributes to its ability to perform photosynthesis. So remember, this is the structure of a leaf. A leaf has layers of tissue stacked one on top of another. The top layer, called the cuticle, acts as the roof of the leaf. It consists of a single layer of epidermal cells that secrete a waxy substance. So single layer, waxy substance, almost water. The cuticle is almost waterproof, so even on hot days, a leaf rarely dries out completely. The cuticle is also transparent, so light passes through it in a single tissue. Okay, so the second layer is called the palisade layer. The palisade layer contains most of the plant's chlorophyll. The main work of photosynthesis goes on in the palisade layer. The third layer consists of sponge cells, which soak up most of the water that reaches the leaf. The space between waterlogged sponge cells are filled with water vapor and carbon dioxide. These substances are used by the palisade cells during photosynthesis. The floor of the leaves consists of guard cells. Like the cuticle, guard cells are waxy and transparent. However, this layer, there's a difference here, is filled with pores called stomata. Okay, so something different. Stomata allow carbon dioxide to enter the leaf and oxygen to leave. By opening and closing, the stomata also control the rate at which the water evaporates from the leaf. Okay? So let's see. First question. Which of the following plant cells does most of the work for photosynthesis? So we're going to go right here to this paragraph where it says main work of photosynthesis, second layer. And the second layer is called the palisade layer. So I just went back up to my passage. I'd already marked up the text and I looked for that answer. That was explicitly stated. Okay, so number 3. Between which two layers of cells are palisade cells found? Okay, so I'm going to go to my graphic. This is what I'm looking for. Which two layers? What's above and what's below? So directly above it is this cuticle layer, and right below it are the sponge cells. So cuticle layer and sponge cells. It says we're looking for sponge cells and stomata. So number 2 says sponge cells and stomata, which is not right. The first one says stomata, so here's stomata and guard cells, which is also not right. Third one says guard cells and sponge cells. No, the fourth one says sponge cells and epidermal cells. So we have sponge cells. Well, yeah, it's sponge and epidermal. Those come in between, so this is 4. Okay. Number 4. Which human organ performs a function most similar to that of a leaf's cuticle? So let's see what the leaf's cuticle does. I am looking for where it says cuticle. Acts as the roof of the leaf. So the top layer, this is the cuticle cell. Right here, all of this fun stuff. So that would be, if I'm thinking about it, most like our skin. We can infer it's the outer layer that protects us, the skin. And this would be inferring. Second page, this is page 8. Questions 5 and 6 refer to the passage and the graph. Light intensity affects the rate at which photosynthesis can take place in plants. Up to a certain point, the rate of photosynthesis tends to increase with light intensities. Plants that are adapted to life in the shade, however, carry out photosynthesis at lower levels of light than plants adapted to life in the direct sunlight. It's important. There's a difference between shade plants and direct sun plants. The graph below compares the rate of photosynthesis in sun plants and shade plants. It tells us our title right here. It says rate of photosynthesis, light intensity, okay? And this one's kind of tough to tell the difference. Where are shade plants likely to carry out photosynthesis at a higher rate than the sun? I don't really know which is the difference of this. Let's skip 5 because in theory we should be able to tell the difference between these two, but we can't. So skip 5. Actually, we're going to skip this whole thing. Check it because I don't think we're going to be able to read that graph. Okie dokie.